President Donald Trump just spoke to Russian President Vladimir Putin on the phone, and that was to discuss the ongoing war with Ukraine and a potential nuclear agreement with Iran. All of that, according to his latest post on Truth Social. Trump said in part, the call lasted approximately 1 hour and 15 minutes. It was a good conversation, but not a conversation that will lead to immediate peace. NBC News White House correspondent Yamiche Alcindor is following this breaking news for us right now from the White House front lawn. Yamiche, Trump says that Putin told him he has to respond to Ukraine's latest attack. But what else did Mr. Trump say specifically about this call? Is there any word out of the Kremlin?
Well, it's very interesting that we now have President Trump talking about this call with Russian President Vladimir Putin. This news just breaking in the last few minutes, and I want to read part more of that post that he put online. He said, we discussed the attack on Russia's docked airplanes by Ukraine and also various other attacks that have been taking place by both sides. It was a good conversation, but not a conversation that you said that will lead to immediate peace. The president also saying that President Putin did say, and very strongly, that he will have to respond to recent attacks on the airfields by Ukraine. Now, what's interesting here is that this is quite the change in tone by President Trump, because on May 25th, and we should put it up for folks, he wrote this: I've always had very good relationship with Vladimir Putin of Russia, but something has happened to him. He has gone absolutely crazy. He is needlessly killing a lot of people, and I'm not just talking about soldiers. Now, back then in May, just a few days ago, the Kremlin said that President Trump was suffering from a, quote, emotional overload, and that's why he was attacking Vladimir Putin. But today, the Kremlin saying essentially that this was a productive conversation. So definitely an interesting change here. Whether or not it leads to a long-term peace deal is really the big question here. We just don't know that, Morgan.
Speaking of change, I do want to switch gears briefly and ask you about Iran. They want nuclear enrichment. The U.S. does not. We understand that that issue also came up on this call. Do we know what's happening in terms of that specific negotiation?
That's right. Well, President Trump also did post about this, saying that he spoke about Iran to the president of Russia. I want to put up more of what he wrote online. He said, in part, I stated to President Putin that Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon. And on this, I believe we were in agreement. He went on to say President Putin suggested that he will participate in the discussions with Iran and that he could perhaps be helpful in getting this brought to a rapid conclusion. He also went on to say that Iran has been slow walking their decision on this very important matter, and we will need a definitive answer in a very short period of time. Now, it's interesting here, of course, because President Trump did rip up during his first term the Iran nuclear deal that was negotiated between former President Obama and Iran. So now he's looking for a new deal to try to stop them from developing nuclear weapons. So we'll have to see how these negotiations go. As the president saying they're obviously not going very well, because he's saying that they're slow walking the talks here. But it'll be interesting to see if Russia's engagement here will move anything along, Morgan.